Welcome back to the Purpose Over Profits podcast. I'm Jim Floyd, owner of Ascent Total Performance.
And I'm Jeremy Powers, founder of Powers Insurance Experts.
So today we're going to have a very informal, not a whole lot of structure. I'm already messed. So not structure, we're going to structure.
That's right. We're changing words of the dictionary.
Yeah. So we're in the midst of quarter four for 2023. So we thought this would be a nice opportunity for us to kind of check in with each other, like what's been the good, what's been the bad, what's been the challenges, what are things we want to work on. And so let's get rolling with it.
Well, man, I said some of my favorite episodes were the end of last year. We had that 2-part series was talking about goals and then really setting goals. And so one of my first ones, I was trying to trademark, just do it. That kind of fell through. So now it's just going to have to be just get it done. You know, I'm going to have to try to, it's not as catchy. Unfortunately, somebody already has that. So my first goal was a failure. You know, not everything's, rainbows and butterflies, Jim. That's what I've learned, But no, I am super pumped to really dive into this, and kind of to start off for me, a big goal of this year was to add another service to be able to take on a salary of someone else and not only just to take that on, but to go through the right process to find the right person. And I can say right here in the thick of Q4, we've just done that.
Yeah, nice.
And we're 3 weeks into that. And the cool thing is we needed it in February, March, April, May, but we didn't settle. We did settle the first time around, and that's what led us to saying we can't settle now.
Yeah.
And so we've had to have some really tough conversations. They say like you do something right or spend the extra money to make it right the first time, because if not, you're going to have to go back and fix it. Yeah. And so the amount of time that we had to spend with what we're worth per hour, not saying like we're this, that, and the other, but like our time is valuable. And I think we have to, as leaders, understand that. Yeah. We've wasted so much valuable resources in that. And I'm so thankful to say that that's not where we are today, that we've corrected. So that's one of the first perks or, pros that has happened for us so far this year where we've won.
Well, I think you learn from mistakes. And so like we were talking about in a previous episode, that you don't repeat those.
That's right.
After you do them. So even though it was a mistake, it still was a benefit.
That's right.
At some point. Yeah. So I'm thinking about what we've accomplished over the course of the year, and so heading into quarter four, we had some goals of just getting better as an organization. My role transitioning leadership wise, and just having more clarity for our staff and all that stuff. We've absolutely accomplished some of those things. We're also, it's a continuous process for that as well, but we have refined a lot of what we're doing. We've gotten a lot better at a lot of different things. And so I'm very thankful for those things too. We've got a long way to go with a lot of more things. Of course, we're never going to be satisfied with where we are too. But as we're going into quarter four, I think some of the big things that I have learned this year it's been a big realization for me is that as my role has transitioned from seeing patients full time and, being in the clinic all the time and being with our staff and helping to train and coach them and doing all that. A lot of what I found my role, it was starting to be more of I'm supporting through these things and all that kind of stuff, but it started to migrate away from me actually coaching people too. And so I started really over the last couple of months, I really started to see some of those things of we're doing these things and people are doing a great job, but there's things that we're starting to see, like we've got some little cracks and things and stuff like that. And when I'm being introspective is, those are things that are my fault because I need to do a little bit more of coaching of this is how we want to do it. And I'm helping our people be the leaders that they can be and that they are. And instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to support your decisions and doing things like that, and we're going to talk about it, I was like really leaning into being able to actually coach them on things of how we want to do it and talking through things and all that kind of stuff. That's been a huge realization for me over the course of this year and really leaning into that now too.
That's great. And another thing to start the second point off with you as well is I know you had the goal of expansion.
Yeah. So we've been able to accomplish that. So we were fortunate to find a really nice location to open up a new location for our business. And so now we're located in downtown Columbia and out Northeast Columbia.
That's great.
And that's been a really good process of going through all the logistics of opening up a new location. And we accomplished a ton. We also found some things that we didn't even think about or just totally forgot just in the whole melee of getting everything done. But we were able to accomplish. So we were able to open that really right at the beginning of Q4. And so that's one of our things is so we always want to focus on growth and being able to impact more lives and help more people. And so we were able to accomplish that.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely very, very proud of our staff for being able to do that and run with it. And they really thrived.
That's beautiful.
In those roles too.
I think a common theme is that when you say, hey, I'm going to accomplish this year, it doesn't matter if you accomplish it in January or December, unless it's a stepping stone to another thing that you're trying to accomplish. But I want to say that it's like in the process is just as important as the finalization of that, because obviously, like you just said, once you did accomplish that, well, now you've got this new set of goals. You've got this new set of things, and ultimately that next time you do it should be easier because hopefully you've been able to write down and figure out a few of these things that you weren't expecting from before. But I just love how, here we are, two of our big things, and they happen here in Q4. And that's why I really am excited that we have these episodes. And I would just ask you to, when this is over, to spend some time to ponder, to look, what did you say? How excited were you about those goals, and how excited are you about those same goals today? What have you accomplished, and what are you still hoping to accomplish, and what's like, hey, that's going to have to get pushed to 2024? I mean, I hope nothing. I hope everything is, but let's just be honest. Life happens. Sometimes I think Mike Tyson's the one that says you've got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, and so some of us have been punched in the mouth this year, and things you didn't expect to happen. And so, but it's great to see some of those wins. I would say another win for us this year was to become more confident for me in my leadership. And, it's been an amazing year. I mean, for the 5th year in a row, we've been able to win the best of the free times. Awesome. We won 35 under 35 in Columbia. It was such an amazing thing. We just at an event in Chicago 2 weeks ago, we were announced a top 50 under 35 in the United States of America. And so these things have happened, and I'm so thankful that where that happened was at a conference that I was invited to speak at, because I stood up and said, hey, I would be willing to if you would need me or want me to. And they're like, absolutely. And so we're one of 16 keynote speakers at a conference, and we would find that out right there. God has a beautiful way of saying, hey, I just asked you to step out and to be confident. And so we've had multiple speaking engagements this year, multiple opportunities to just really do what I feel called to do, multiple opportunities to preach at the local church and to just really dive into that calling. And man, it's done nothing but give me, after I get down off the stage, and after butterflies create beautiful moments, but after I get down, I'm like, thank you so much for that opportunity. I can't wait until it's over. And then I'm like, man, I'll do that again. You know what I mean? Because it's a beautiful thing. And so that's the second thing that I'm thankful for, is that this year we stepped into it and said, you know what? We deserve to be here.
Yeah. I love that. And I well deserved with all that stuff too. I'm thinking about one of the bigger things that, we had this goal of expansion and we were able to accomplish that. And some of our other ones was we recognized that in order for our company to continue to go where we want to go, that we can't rely on old tactics with everything. We have some core things of how we get new patients and how we create word of mouth and all those kind of things too. But we also recognize that in order for us, we need to explore different things too. And so one of the nice things that we've been able to accomplish is getting a little bit more mature in how we market ourselves and how we put ourselves out there a little bit more and a little more sophisticated with those things and tracking and actionable things and all that kind of stuff. And it's not just hey, I'm just gonna go talk to this person and create a relationship and that's how we're gonna get the patients. We absolutely do that. And that's always gonna be a bread and butter thing. But how do we make it more data driven? And so we can have a process for how we do those things and refining those things more. And I think that's something that we've been able to accomplish. And now we're in the process of, we just continue to add to that and refine it too. And one of the other big things for me, a big win for me too, was just seeing how much our staff has grown.
Yeah.
And numbers wise, but then also just personal growth and
That's
professional growth. We've had the opportunity to have multiple staff members move into leadership positions, and seeing the change in them, such a positive change, and taking on these roles and thriving in those has been a really rewarding thing for me, because I see them excited about stuff, and I get to be a part of that, and I get to help coach them through those things, or just talk about different things, and they have questions and we get to talk about it, and it's a really cool thing for me to get to be able to see that growth that's happened of having a little bit more challenge for someone, and helping them be into that role and seeing them embrace it and really lean into it and rise to those things. And that's what we're all about as a company. Is so such a gratifying thing for me to be able to see everybody step up with those things. It's
That's incredible.
A really cool thing.
That's incredible. A last win for me that I'll speak about is I ultimately want to take in 5 new books this year. I love to just always try to take in the new, and I like to read things that I've already read before to try to keep growing in that, because every time you read something, I feel like you can pull where you are in life, you can pull something different. But it's been a long time since I've changed my top 5. And a book that I would strongly recommend, it's just called 10X is Better Than 2X. And that has actually taken the #1 spot this year.
Nice.
And so that was obviously I never went into this year saying I want to find that book that's just going to be a game changer for me. But I love that when you take in content, you find something that resonates with where you are right now. And I know I've already mentioned the book to both of you in here, but I would just say, if you haven't yet, guys, you got to take it in. I mean, just an incredible book. It just changes your mindset. And that's what I love, is that the taking that content, where I failed is that I want that for others so bad too. And I've tried so hard, where it's purchasing books for my staff, or trying to get them to love it the same way, but absolute failing when I'm like, if I can just get it and they just start it, then they'll find the love for it too. And it'll, and it just isn't happening. And, and that is a thing that is tough for me, because like, you can only want something from someone. They have to want it more than you do. And I think that's a failure for me this year. And something that I've had to come to terms with is that's what I got from is you can't want something as much as someone else does. You can't want it for them. And so where it's a failure, it's not a failure that I can necessarily control, but there are ways that I can work to create that and to cultivate that. And that's just something that I have to work on. So speaking, it's not always, it's not always about the wins. There are the areas that you're not accomplishing what you wish to accomplish as well.
There's always going to be challenges, and with the wins, there come different challenges. And, as you grow and expand and evolve as a company, the wins change, but the challenges change a lot commensurate with that too. So we're going into challenges. I think one of my bigger challenges is really, I think, as we've had such a leadership focus, and I've kind of already talked about it a little bit of just a challenge for me is making sure that I'm being the leader that we need within the company. And, I've talked about different coaching programs that I've used and all kinds of different things, and had a lot of different opinions coming at me. And some of the challenges have been, I was like, well, what do I think? Yeah. And how do I want to do it? And what resonates the most with me and aligns most with how I want to approach it? And really, that's been a challenge personally for me of figuring out, like, what is it? What is the right thing to do, and what makes the most sense to me, and really then being able to lean into that. And what I've noticed is that we make these changes, and I'm really trying to bring in different leadership aspects and different things and all those kind of things, and that ends up making us a much better company and me being a much better leader. But it's also a challenge that I've recognized that needed to happen in how I lead myself and how I lead my staff, and enabling them to be able to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely. I think that's incredible. As far as, where you are, I think another one for us is just ultimately it's the scorecards. I really wanted to get the scorecards more, like, not that we don't already have things and metrics and all, but really wanted to get it to where it's part of the DNA of our organization. Yep. And that has just not, once again, on a DISC assessment, 97I. the speaking, the this, that, and other things that I still struggle to believe in myself. They're what I shine at, but yet what I really want to do, the process is the getting it on paper, the making it happen. But I do feel like as we start to wrap up this year, and I now have this team around me that I fully trust, is, hey, here's the vision, help me create it. I think that delegation is something that I'm absolutely starting to utilize, and I am excited to see through the delegation of, yes, I don't need to be the one to create it. I just need to be the one to give the vision. And I think that as that's happening, we can critique it. Once it's made, we can edit it. You know, it's not the final draft. It's a rough draft, you know? And so I think that I'm starting to see that and work through that. So it's a light at the end of the tunnel, but as of right now, it's something that I had hoped to have accomplished by March or April, because it was a stepping stone. And here we are at Q4, but fortunately I've got, 30 years left in the tank. So, we'll be here for a little bit, but this is something that we've got to get hyper focused on, and something that I see. And I'm so thankful that there may be some things that are blinders right now, but I'm so thankful that I am taking on, as well as I believe you are as well, our shortcomings where we're falling short, where, hey, we're not saying, hey, I'm just going to choose to look at what's going right. We're saying, hey, like, I'm going to stare straight at what's not as well.
We gotta embrace those things. That's the only way we're going to change and become better with those things too. All right. So we're already well into Q4. We have another episode in January. We're going to do like a Q4 review, end of the year review. What would success look like for you for the end of Q4?
Yep. So we're starting a new lead program tomorrow, actually. So obviously the recording of this doesn't all line up with that. But for me, I want to see success in that. And I know that it comes from me creating a process, but also me following through. It's we talked about in the last episode, it's the tough love. It's the kind that actually to be a liberator, and to be someone that actually is willing to be tough, but willing to be out. So for me, it's seeing that through. And then also I'm going to challenge myself in this, something that I really believe that we need to do that we haven't done yet. It's in regards to this podcast. We've gone from doing a weekly episode to doing an every other week episode, and I don't think that was because we don't love it. It's because we actually care and because we care about the quality, and we know that our organizations they take a lot from us. But I would love to say by the end of this year that we have a date for the Purpose Over Profits Mastermind. I want to bring that to our local community. It's been said that it's needed, it's wanted, it's appreciated. And I want to stop feeling like we're not worthy of that, but to actually have something on the plan. And then guess what? When it's on the calendar, we got to do something about it. We just went to that M Garden a month or two ago at this point in time where this is coming out. Whenever this comes out, we've gone there. We know we know there's spaces. We know there's places. We have no excuses. And so that's a together goal that I think that we need to bring to life.
I think that'd be really cool. That's exciting for me as well. I think so if I look back, so in January, and we look back at kind of what we would want to accomplish in Q4, this is generally the busiest time of year for our industry.
Really?
And so it's busy. Everybody's got full schedules. So we want to make sure that all of our staff are rising to the occasion, rising to those challenges, but also very much supported.
Would you say it's because like they've met that health insurance deductible and they go, okay, I got you. I feel you. That makes a lot. Because I would think with holidays, it would kind of be a ghost town, but people are like, man, I've already met my deductible. I'm going. Okay.
That's a lot of
Makes sense.
So even that week after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, it's like all these people, they're getting those surgeries in and things like that.
They're just hurting themselves so they can use it. They can feel like they got their money's worth.
So, but also, of course, it's the time too where we celebrate being togetherness and all those things too. So things I love, like I'm such a dad in that, I love being around my girls and my wife and having that family aspect and getting to do so many different things with that. And then from the business aspect too, I was like, I love having everybody together. And I love getting to do those things. I find myself just sitting back and just like watching the interactions and all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, this is really cool. And, but so, from a business perspective, what we want to be able to accomplish in Q4 is, of course, meet the demands of what we have. But then also we've got another location now. Now everything's not in one place. That creates challenges for how do we have consistency across things? How do we have consistent communication with things too? We have an awesome staff out at the new spot. I need to make sure that I'm being the leader that we need for that too, and facilitating consistent communication and helping them know what's expected of them and having that clarity of those roles, because we're not there. I'm not physically there every day. And making sure that we have all of that stuff nailed down so the clinic director in our new location knows exactly what they're going to be judged on, exactly what they need to be doing every day, exactly how do we go market, how do we treat our staff, how do we support them, all those kind of things. I have to make sure that I'm defining all those things, and we're doing all that stuff together. But I would consider it a huge win for me and our company. By the time of this end of this quarter, we've got all that stuff nailed down. So there's absolute clarity for a leader in our organization, regardless of where they are, what their role is, and how they need to be doing things.
That's awesome. And I fully believe that you are an action item made. Like, you're going to be able to create that plan to see the vision through. And so it's been great just talking about where we're being successful. It's great to celebrate the successes, to not hide our weaknesses in the dark, but to bring it out and what we want to do, and then to challenge each other. And so that's our goal for you, is that we're living this out. We're here, we're doing it, we're a part of it. And man, we're just so excited for what you're doing. So I'll just ask where you're taking this content. Let us know, reach out to us, talk to us. We want to celebrate your wins, and we want to be there to challenge you to do better where you know you need to as well. And so we're all in this together, and we just hope that we would give you the gift of embracing purpose over profits. You guys have a good one.